Stephen, let's talk prospects now. You obviously have your finger on the pulse of the upcoming World Juniors. You've been at Canada's camp already. You're keeping an eye on every other nation's camp, and I know you have a close eye on someone from Team USA. So, what do you have to say in terms of long-term fantasy potential for Jacob Fowler?
All right. Well, first off, Jacob Vrana was a name that was mentioned that was going on waivers earlier today. It's been reported he will not be put on waivers. So
Ooh,
interesting storyline. We are recording on a Monday, in case you couldn't tell. Jacob Fowler, Montreal Canadiens, a guy that I think is going to turn a lot of heads as someone who might even be USA's World Junior starting goalie. And I'll be at camp later this week to see how he does. But it's an interesting situation where if you look at who was it? Trey Augustine, who's the starting goalie from last year's World Junior team, one of the top goalie prospects in the world right now, Detroit Red Wings goalie, having a good season in college. But do you know who's having a great season in college? That is Jacob Fowler, who with the Boston College, he's 13-3-1 with a shutout and a .925 save percentage. It was like a .932 up until his last start where he allowed a bunch of goals in. But otherwise, he is one of the best goalies you'll find in the college level. And he's a freshman, which is interesting. 19 years old. He was outstanding at the World Junior Summer Showcase. He was the best goalie at the World Junior A Challenge last year, which, there weren't a lot of high-end goalies, but and the Americans did win that tournament, but he stood out. He was one of the best players. He was the best goal in the USHL. All he's doing is just proving he's the best goalie everywhere he plays, sort of like Dustin Wolf. The big difference between Dustin Wolf and Jacob Fowler. Jacob Fowler is 6'2", but looks much bigger because he's over 220 pounds. I wrote in the summer that this could be the guy that's Montreal Canadiens starting goalie of the future. And I do truly believe that it's hard to be the true replacement to Carey Price. And I wrote that and people were like, well, Carey Price could come back. He is not. But Jacob Fowler, it's, probably we look at Caden Primo was a highly rated goalie prospect at one point. I think Jacob Fowler is a better goalie at the same age than what we've seen from Caden Primo. So keep an eye out for him. He's a good size, moves really well. Drafted 69th overall by the Montreal Canadiens. I think he's going to be a very nice player for them in the future.